I am the Pajama Girl. It's Sunday night, and you're watching Probable Cause.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
June 30, 2024, Dan Grider, Probable Cause. Yes, we had a little airplane deal. We'll get to that a little bit later. You probably heard all about it. If you haven't, it was an unfortunate runway excursion in a Lockheed Electra 12A. Happened on June 17th out at Seven Lakes. We'll talk about all that, but remember the whole purpose of the channel here is AQP, and AQP for General Aviation. I'm going to get into that first. Before I do, I want to say a huge, heartfelt thank you. And I'll list a couple entities here. But first of all, our EMS and first responders, specifically Kenny out there at Seven Lakes, who jumped into action. But the first responders, the fire department, the local fire department, the volunteer fire department, the EMS, and all those kind of people, it's an amazing network. You consider that we had this problem. 3 individuals had to get life flighted out of here, and all of a sudden we've got 3 turbine aircraft on a grass strip getting ready to fly a 50-mile night flight over to a hospital. It's an incredible deal. Each one got the proper medical care, ambulance, helicopter, gurneys, the whole thing. The total number of people involved to get this all done was just astounding. A huge heartfelt thank you to, especially to those who happened to be there at the time and ran towards the fire, knowing full well this thing's about to blow up. That still is the most amazing part of this whole story to me, is the number of people with that engine running and fire coming out of that exhaust and 100 low lead squirting everywhere. The number of people that ran towards the danger to try to help was totally amazing. Some of you that jumped in here last week, I appreciate that. We did a live after the video last week. It was a lot of fun. Had 3,500 people in the live video afterwards last week, and I kind of talked through a little bit of that. That video is still up and on the air if you want to see that. I appreciate that. Those of you that have donated towards my efforts here on AQP, $1 and $2 at a time, I appreciate that, because it's traditionally helped me go out on the road and do some of those kind of things. We still got that available and in place. I'll talk about that in a second. But our 501c3 is up and running. It's official. Here's the letter for it right here on the screen. I'll show it to you. We are a 501c3. We've got the DTSB Superfund. Now that I've had a little bit of downtime because of this accident, I've had a little bit of chance to think about the direction and some of the bigger projects that we want to do to get AQP and avoiding the surprise. Remember, number 5 on this list back here on the board here, ACS is surprise. ACS is no surprise. AQP is surprise. This was a surprise. We definitely got surprised. I got a short guest cameo appearance at the end of this video by Jet Boss, Laura Savino, Captain Laura Savino, the Jet Boss. She's going to talk about these boys got taken by surprise, and I think that's absolutely true. I know I did for sure. It's not like we went out there and planned to wreck an airplane for clicks and views. No, we did everything right. The airplane's good. We're completely licensed. Our medicals are good. Everything is totally good. We did everything we were supposed to do. We did checklist exactly like we're supposed to do it. Tail wheel locked on takeoff or landing is not part of the checklist. Anyway, a big thank you to all those guys that helped on all that entire project here. If you want to help me, $1 and $2 at a time. If you're not concerned about your tax donation and not concerned about a 501c3 tax credit, you can help me personally here. Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. I also got a couple letters in the mail here today. I'm going to show them to you here. But Steve Zimmerman, this is the guy from out in Portland that owns all the helicopter stuff out there. He's the guy that spotted me my last DB Cooper helicopter ride out there in Portland. Steve Zimmerman sent me a letter and a nice note here. And then I also got a letter from a guy that I don't even know, Bill Redgrave out in Nevada. I'll have to explore a little bit further about that. But really interesting to get a mail at the home here. I wasn't even aware that we could still do snail mail. Pretty cool. But anyway, a big thank you to everybody that has jumped in and supported with meals, food, logistics, help, care, all that kind of thing. Let's get into the June data. So here they are on the screen. This is June. Remember, the month of June represents the closing out of the first half of 2024. We've done really, really good. I'll put this up on the screen here. This is June data. And take a look at the bottom of this thing, 2024. So far, we've had 10.22 fatals per month when 18.0 is normal. 2023, the same time 1 year ago right now, we had 84 fatals. 2024, as of right now, we're at 61. And this 17 that you're seeing on the screen right now, this concludes as of June 30th today. That's all I know about so far. Still could be possibly somebody crashed an airplane here yet this evening. Don't know, but that's 23 less than what we were 1 year ago right now. So that's totally good. I'm going to go over a couple of things here. Number one on this thing, November 412 November. That's an RV-12 out in Washington. I had previously had this thing as a DMMS fatal. Come to find out, this is a flight control thing. This is Jesse Norling, age 43. I think when they found out in the very end of this thing, Jesse did squeeze off one call on Unicom that they were able to hear he was having a flight control problem. He went out and flew his flight. He's left base landing north, and he had some kind of a flight control problem. That tells me something was either stuck, inline, rigged, snapped, broken, but probably not a lack of speed problem as much as it was he lost elevator pitch control or he lost some kind of something. Don't know, and I don't know if it's going to be even possible to figure that out. Then, since last Sunday night, really the only thing that we've had that I want to talk about is the R44 in Washington. Still no information on that. We had that one as of last week. And then the 414 out in Texas, 414A. This is a VMC roll. Michael Lewis, age 67. This airplane is coming out of avionics maintenance, had not flown for a long time. This is on kind of a maintenance test flight. Apparently, witnesses are saying they think they lost a left engine on takeoff. VMC rolled 3 people on board, 2 deceased for sure. The third person worked for the avionics company. He was on board, and he is still in the hospital fighting for his life. Boy, do I know what that feels like, but they were able to get him out. I think he was able to survive because of the soft material that this airplane impacted upside down in this gravel pit just off the south end of the runway down there. I think it impacted vertical. And notice the water truck. I want to point out this white water truck here. This is not an EMS water truck. This is a water truck associated with the gravel pit that was first on the scene within a few minutes and started squirting water on the 414. Boy, does that sound familiar. Somebody jumped into action. Some human being saw the fire airplane crash and took their water truck and drove right straight over there and started dumping water before the fire trucks could even get there. I'm going to go out on a limb and venture to guess that probably was a huge factor in saving the life of the one man that did survive so far to date out of that thing. I think they got him out of there. I think he is in very serious condition still, but I think he's going to be okay. The one after that I'm going to show you, this is the Cessna 180. I believe it's the 180 out in Idaho. This just happened yesterday. It's a messed up go-around. Here's the airport out here. Here's the airport diagram for it. Remember, this is one of those Idaho airports. I'm not familiar with it, but it's a one-way in, one-way out. This airplane, I say it was a 180. I don't know for sure. I can't really tell. This is the only picture I've got. This is the picture during the messed up go-around. This airplane came in and decided to do a go-around. It had a father and a son on board. The father's deceased. The son, so far, from what I hear today, is still alive, but I don't have any further information. You guys out here in the backwoods flying these backwoods one-way in, one-way out strips here, you got to know the procedure, and you got to be committed. Once you get down here low, full flaps and out of energy and out of runway, you can't outclimb the terrain. And it looks to me like this particular one was a low speed stall spin at the very, very end, trying to outclimb terrain, but really can't tell. This is an actual picture right here that you're seeing on the screen of the aircraft during the go-around, way beyond the no-go point here. So that's what that is. That concludes June here. Take a look at the bottom of this thing, 2024. We're at 23 less than what we were 1 year ago right now, which is really, really good. Friday was a big day. We took Dylan up to Athens, Georgia for his instrument check ride. Remember, in the last 11 months, he's gone from 0 to hero. So he's sitting today at 550 hours. He's a commercial pilot as of Friday. He's an instrument-rated pilot. Drew drove the car, and we put me in the back seat. So I'm kind of worn out from that trip alone. But we went up to Athens, Georgia. Dylan, it took him all day long, but he completed his single-engine instrument check ride. So big congratulations to Dylan. Here's a quick video that we shot in the debriefing room after the check ride was over. Sitting here with Knucklehead. Congratulations, young man. Big day. Dylan just passed his
instrument check ride.
PA 28140 instrument check ride. We're up here at Athens, Georgia. Yes, I'm still on drugs, but I drove up. Dylan flew the airplane up, and a successful day. What did you think of your instrument check ride?
I thought it was great. You know, it was nerve-wracking like every check ride, but it worked out well. We we just flew to our minimums and, did everything step by step, nice and slow. If I needed more time, I asked for more time, and it worked out.
Perfect. Well, it took a long time. You got here early this morning, and it's 3 o'clock, and we're just now getting out of here. But I think it was a really thorough oral, and sounds like a very thorough flight test and everything. So I'm really happy with that. The only thing I got to say is that I wish your brother could have been here for this one.
I know. Yeah, would have been great.
Isn't he a moron, Drew?
Terrible. Yeah, it's lucky you were able to drive yourself. Oh.
Yeah, so Drew made it in. Drew and I drove up here today to get this thing done. Happy to report, Dylan, finally, not quite 1 year ago today, I soloed you in the Cherokee 140, and now you're a commercial pilot, instrument, and hopefully by the end of July, 1st of August, I'll have you commercial multi-instrument, and then I'm kicking you out the door to go fly jets.
That's the hope.
Oh, yeah. Good job. So anyway, same process that I did for Drew, built a pilot out of him. Now I have to build a pilot out of Dylan, which has been much more difficult, mostly because he's not that bright.
It's a difficult task. I'll tell you what. Just in 1 year and out the other. See, I can't even talk.
All right, let's go eat lunch.
All right, let's do it.
While we're up there at Athens, rating a whole bunch of cool people, rating some people that knew us and followed us on YouTube. Here's one of them right here on the screen. This girl's a up-and-coming pilot flying a PC-12, and she stopped in to say hi and congratulate Dylan. And we had a great time with our friends John and Kim up there in Athens, Georgia. Look forward to a lot of future adventures with John and Kim up at Athens, Georgia.
Wait, what?
Let's get on to the next part of this thing. We're talking about this accident, this Lockheed thing. Taken by surprise. I want you to know that while I was in the hospital at Grady is the hospital where AQP started for me 24 years ago. I'll post this picture here. This is Brock's mom. Remember, Brock was the young man that was a student of mine that killed himself in a Cessna 172 24 years ago. I was the first to the scene, and I was the first to Grady, and I was there when Brock's mom got there. Shortly after Brock's mom got there that day, they came out and informed us that Brock did not make it. 3 people died in that crash. That was the very first event that I ever heard of. Loss of thrust on takeoff. That was the entire catalyst that started the quest for me 24 years ago. I have not been taking this lightly. I spent years trying to figure out how a person during a time of crisis could pull aft on the yoke during a loss of thrust on takeoff. This is the event. This is the scenario that started AQP for general aviation for me 24 years ago. No, it's not a money thing, and no, I have not messed with this thing purely for any other reason other than trying to figure out and trying to help my fellow pilot. Now, not only is there loss of thrust on takeoff, there's 24 other scenarios. The Lockheed scenario is going to be a scenario that we're going to add to the AQP scenario list. A scenario is something that takes you by surprise that you can train for. Think about that. A scenario is something that you can train for, that you can be ready for via practice, rehearsal, and conditioning. I want you to condition for all these things. Something is going to happen to you in your general aviation airplane. Anyway, that's how AQP started. Got a lot of haters. Here's a guy on the beach talk. I'll show his text up here. Completely clueless. He has no idea what he's talking about, but I'll put his name up here and highlight it here. Typical guy that has no idea what he's talking about, and all I can say is have a nice life, and he has no idea. The AQP thing for me is a quest. It's a vendetta. I'm on it. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on going, and we are making progress. I am specifically encouraged now with the DTSB Superfund and the 501c3 setup. We're going to make some serious headway on the AQP for general aviation courseware, free material, free testing, free quizzes, free everything for pilots is what I got in mind, and boy, do we have a lot of work to do. So here's a guest cameo appearance from Captain Laura. She started to make kind of a little video for her YouTube channel and decided to hang on and wait a little bit to see how things shake out. But I took a little bit of a section out of her video, her closing on this thing. She's hit the nail on the head here, and she's pretty qualified to talk about what she's talking about here. These boys were taken by surprise. Here's Captain Laura Savino referencing taken by surprise.
I think Glenn and Dan, they were just taken by surprise by this sudden, very unexpected turn off the runway. and their instincts were good. They shut those engines down, but I don't know. It seems like loss of directional control on the ground, something that should always be in everybody's mind. And I'll just add, so you could do a brake check in the air. It's the kind of thing, on the ground, I know you do a thorough brake check. Obviously, you do the engine run up, you confirm everything is working. What if something happens in flight? What if you have loss of brake pressure in flight? Well, at the airliners, we know that because we have gauges that give us that information. GA aircraft, how are you going to know if something like that were to happen? Well, the only way is just do a good old-fashioned manual brake check. If you depress those pedals and you have pressure on one side that's not equal to the pressure on the other side, if one side is soft, you could have differential braking on the ground and not know it until too late. So what do? If that happens, well, you declare an emergency, you find an airport with really long runways, and you prepare yourself to roll out without using any brakes. Just something to think about, something to always have, in your head. What if? I'm prepared for this too. All right, everybody. That's my take on what happened here. I am very happy the three of these gentlemen are going to make it. It's gonna be a long road for them, but they're gonna make it. And yeah, we'll update you down the road. All right, thanks for hanging in here to the end. Much appreciated. Bye, everybody.
So I'm going to cut this video short here tonight. My schedule is that all this week I'll be back at the hospital with more surgery. I hope to have another video up and on the air next Sunday night. I want you guys to stay safe out there. Stay off of my list. Remember, next Sunday night we'll have a July list up here to show you who's killed themselves in an airplane in the month of July. 2024 is half over. We did really, really well. I'd hope that we're going to do really, really good and pay attention out there and be ready for these scenarios. All my speaking engagements and all that kind of stuff for June and July have been canceled because of this accident. But that's all good. We'll reschedule all that stuff. Happy to do it. Happy to participate in the conversation and the things that we can learn about being taken by surprise and being ready for the things that are going to happen to us in an airplane. I know for sure I'm going to add gear down, 3 green, brakes are good. That's what I'm adding on this thing. I got to get out here and get this video up and on the air so I can get in the hospital tomorrow. From a tiny little itty bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Grider. Probable cause.